all morning long we've been talking about the federal government shutdown, the first one in 17 years. Joining us live from Washington, D.C. over Skype is Representative Colleen Hanabusa. Good morning, Congresswoman.
Good morning.
Congresswoman, tell me a little bit about what's going behind the scenes right now. We've seen the Senate and the House going back and forth all day long yesterday, today as well. So what's happening behind the scenes? What are you doing to try to fix this situation?
Well, I'll tell you, right now the most important thing is to try and be available for questions and understanding what the impact is of the people in Hawaii. And so I've personally placed calls to, for example, the Defense Department people to ask, what does it mean? Because as you know, there is a bill that was signed that was to pay the men and women in uniform, but part of that bill was also to pay the support staff, who are civilian employees and even contract employees who support the men and women in uniform. So it's a question now of how is that being interpreted. And as you know, there are 2 million employees who are considered to be essential, and they are about 800,000 across the United States, of course, who are considered to be non-essential and subject to furlough. So we're trying to work our way through that to see how that's going to be interpreted, because as you know, we have about 20,000 employees who are DOD employees and 25,000 or so that are federal employees. So I think that's the first series of questions that we're looking to get answered. As far as what it is that we're doing in Congress, quite candidly, we're waiting. It is now in the court of the House majority, the Republicans, and they have to decide whether they're going to continue with this ping pong back and forth with the Senate, or they're going to just say, you know what, let's take people's livelihoods off the table, let's do the continuing resolution, and let's get it done, and let's not play with that, and let's also not play with the issues such as the debt ceiling, which is going to come up in a few weeks.
And Congresswoman, we don't have too much time, but there are a lot of frustrated workers who are being furloughed here in Hawaii. You mentioned the 800,000 federal workers across the nation that will be affected by this immediately. What do you say to those constituents here in Hawaii that are being affected by this shutdown and don't have a paycheck at the end of the day?
Well, all we can tell them is, you know, as a member of Congress, I apologize for our institution, but what we have to do is we have to keep focused on getting this thing resolved. And I think the only way we're going to get it resolved is that that small minority, and there are about 30 of them, 40 at most, within the Republican majority, that seems to be calling the shots on this. And they seem to be fixated on Obamacare. That's what their whole focus is. And you see in the Senate, even the Republicans in the Senate are just so frustrated in dealing with them. All we can say is we just keep going. We're going to keep casting our votes, and sooner or later, we just hope that their constituents tell them enough is enough, because they feel that they are serving their constituents.
We want to thank you for joining us here this morning. We know you're busy. We are out of time, but Congresswoman Colleen Hanabusa joining us from Washington, D.C. over Skype. Thank you very much. Still ahead, aloha.